हेलो ह्यूमंस, वेलकम बैक टू योर थॉट्स आर वैलिड एंड आई होप यू ऑल आर डूइंग ग्रेट। आज हम स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल साइकोलॉजी के क्रैश कोर्स में यूनिट 3 विच इज परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल और ये है पार्ट 10। सो लेट्स सी आज हम क्या कवर करने वाले हैं। पहले आज हम समझेंगे कि परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल क्या होता है, देन उसकी नीड क्या है, और फिर हम कुछ टेक्निक समझेंगे परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल मेथड्स की। आज हम ऑब्जेक्टिव परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल मेथड्स की कुछ टेक्निक मेथड हम समझेंगे। आउटपुट मेजर्स, कंप्यूटराइज्ड परफॉर्मेंस मॉनिटरिंग, जॉब रिलेटेड पर्सनल डेटा एसे मेथड्स, क्रिटिकल इंसिडेंट मेथड, चेकलिस्ट मेथड एंड कुछ और भी मेथड है जो इम्पॉर्टेंट है। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द वीडियो। Performance appraisal is the process of obtaining, analyzing, and recording information about the relative worth of an employee. The focus of the performance appraisal is measuring and improving the actual performance of the employee and also the future potential of the employee. Its aim is to measure what an employee does. According to Flippo, a prominent personality in the field of human resources, performance appraisal is the systematic, periodic, and the impartial rating of an employee's excellence in the matters pertaining to his present job and his potential for a better job. Performance appraisal is a systematic way of reviewing and assessing the performance of an employee during a given period of time and planning for his future. Performance appraisals may be defined as a structural formal interaction between a subordinate and supervisor that usually takes the form of a periodic interview, which can be annual or semi-annual, in which the work performance of the subordinate is examined and discussed with a view to identifying weaknesses and strengths as well as opportunities for improvement and skills development. So I hope what performance appraisal is clear to you now. It's nothing but just the process of obtaining, analyzing, and recording information about an employee, okay? So that we can know the potential of an employee, we can improve it by training. So for that, performance appraisal is needed. Now let's see some of the objectives of performance appraisal. So the first one is to review the performance of the employees over a given period of time. Okay, so we all need to see how are we performing, are we growing or not. So we need to review the performance of the employees for that reason. It also judges the gap between actual and desired performance. It helps the management in exercising organizational control. It helps to strengthen the relationship and communication between superior subordinates and management employees. It is used to diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of an individual so as to identify training and development needs of the future. It provides feedback to the employees regarding their past performance. It also provides information to assist in the other personal decisions in the organization. It provides clarity of the expectations and responsibilities of the functions to be performed by the employees. It is used to judge the effectiveness of the other human resource functions of the organization, such as recruitment, selection, training, and development. It is also used to reduce the grievances of the employee. So these are some of the objectives of performance appraisal. Now let's come on to the methods. So there are numerous methods in use to appraise employee performance depending upon the size and nature of the organization. A common approach to assess performance is to use numerical or scalar rating system whereby managers are asked asked to score an individual against a number of objectives or attributes. In some companies, employees receive assessments from their managers, peers, subordinates, customers, while also performing a self-assessment. The most popular methods used in the performance appraisal processes can be divided into two categories. First one is the traditional trait appraisal method. In this, there are different methods which can be listed, like ranking methods, graphic rating, scale method, critical incident method, checklist method, essay method, field review method. And the other type is modern appraisal method. It includes management by objectives, then 360-degree feedback, um, behaviorally anchored rating scales, assessment genre, human resource accounting, etc. So today we are going to cover traditional trait appraisal methods. So let's understand ranking methods first. The ranking method is possibly one of the oldest employee performance appraisal method. In this, an employee is assessed based on a set of parameters compared to all other employees. Essentially, this places them in order of the most to the least productive. In this method, the rater compares each employee with every other in the group. Final ranking is based on the number of times the employee is judged better than the others. Ranking can be based on the followings. First is straight ranking method. This is like the simplest technique. In this method, appraiser or evaluator ranks the employees from the best to the poorest on the basis of their overall performance. It is very useful for comparative evaluation and also to instill competition in the organization, healthy competition. Second is paired comparison method. It is a better way of comparison than a straight ranking method. In this method, each employee is compared with all others on a one-to-one basis and then ranked, like on different things, like who, like say who did the most sales, who is the best employee of the month. For that, overall performance will be seen, best sales executive, and like that for various departments, different awards will be there or ranking will be there. Then force distribution method. It is a method of appraising employees on the basis of predetermined distribution scale. The evaluator is asked to rank 10% employees in the best category, 20% in the next, 40 in the middle, 20 in before the low, and 10% in the lowest. Then what are the advantages of rating scale? Ranking methods, I mean. So it is simple and quick to accomplish. It is less time consuming. It yields a numerical rating for employees which can be directly linked to compensation adjustment or staffing concerns. There are few limitations as well, like this method does not account for the ratio by which one employee is doing better than the other. Then this traditional performance appraisal method will likely have many inaccuracies if the number of employees is high. Individual attributes and skills differ. This method does not take behavior and other factors and other such factors into account. Then let's see the second method, which is graphing rating scale method. Okay, we read about ranking method. Now we are moving on to graphing rating scale method. It is most widely used technique of performance appraisal. In this method, an employee's quality and quantity of work is assessed in a graphic scale indicating different degrees of a particular trait, behavior, or characteristics as they relate to work performance. For example, a trait like job knowledge may be judged on the range of average, above average, outstanding, unsatisfactory, or on the basis of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The list of factors to be appraised is dependent upon the company requirements. A major problem with graphing rating scales is that words like excellent, poor, and the like are general and do not convey the degree of merit relating to each specific factor with respect to an employee. The following should be kept in mind for selecting traits for merit rating, regardless of the method that is adopted. Trait should be observable, that is, can the rater actually observe this trait in action? Universality of the trait under consideration is important, meaning it is a relevant characteristic in relation to the job under study. The trait under question should clearly be distinguishable as something different from another trait with a different name. What are the advantages of this method? It is less subjective as it considers a number of different traits rather than a subjective whole. Traits are defined and uncertainty is minimized. It also shows the degree to which each desired trait is present. It is therefore precise. There are disadvantages as well, like it is difficult to decide on relative weights of different traits, validate the opinions arrived at, and ensure uniformity in trait articulation and consistency in rating as they are likely to differ with raters. Then moving on to the third method, which is critical incident method. So in this method, the evaluator rates the employee on the basis of critical events and how the employee behaved during those incidents. It includes both negative and positive points. The negative point incident might be damage to machinery because of not following safety measures. This method involves keeping a record of exceptionally good or bad incidents in the employee's work life with respect to the period under review. Such good or bad incidents can be examined to rate the fortitude and practical skills of employees. Incidents do not mean low ranking. It is how the particular employee rises up to the challenge and works his way through difficulty that is considered. Positive point incident may be staying beyond working hours to repair a machine. The drawback of this method is that the supervisor has to note down the critical incidents and the employee behavior as and when they occur. An advantage of this method is that it is behavior focused and personality focused. On the negative side, it can be challenging to keep track of behavior throughout the day for the entire year and note down these specific behavioral patterns. So I hope this is clear. I mean, these methods are very easy to understand, so there is not really much you need to, like understand the concept. It's basically just about reading and just understanding what the method is about. Then fourth is the checklist method. The appraiser is given a checklist of several behaviors, traits, or job characteristics of the employees on job. The checklist contains a list of statements on the basis of which the evaluator describes the on-the-job performance of the employees. If the rater believes that employee does have a particular listed trait, it is marked as positive check. Otherwise, the item is left blank. The company has a choice to choose either weighted checklist method or forced checklist method. Advantage is that unlike other traditional methods, this employee performance appraisal method is not very time intensive. It is commonly used as it saves time and measures all the employees against the same criteria. Disadvantages include it can be challenging to create an adequately detailed questionnaire to get results accurate enough for a corporate environment. It can also be relatively inefficient, especially when measuring several different job roles using same set of questions. Furthermore, creating separate questionnaires for each job category can turn out expensive. Moving on to the next method, which is essay appraisal method. It is also known as free form method. What happens in this is that there will be a description of the performance in a number of broad performance criteria of an individual employee by his superior based on the facts and often supported by examples and evidences. So what happens here? A manager draws out a relatively detailed essay about an employee's performance. Several questions could be presented to the manager who would then reflect the employee's performance in a written report. These types of appraisals generally address quite a few aspects of an employee's contribution in their role. These essays are intended to explain and record an employee's strengths and limitations in the workplace, as well as to identify problem areas and devise a strategy to address them. Advantages. What does the advantages include? When it comes to a small team, this method does have the advantage of leveraging the manager's involvement in the employee's professional affairs. Since the essay approach is significantly less organized and rigorous than traditional rating scale methods, the appraiser can analyze any issues or characteristics of performance that is important to an employee's job role or overall company progress. This method strategy provides supervisor with freedom of expression and critical analysis. Let's look at the limitations. If the team is large, this method may not have the required insights to form accurate opinions on which to base actions. A large part of this method also relies on managers to be adept at critical communication. Therefore, a well intending manager who is extremely happy with an employee's performance may be unable to convey that information effectively. It puts the employee's position at risk while giving the organization incorrect data, possibly throwing any performance management attempts into complete disarray. Then there is field review method. In this method, a representative of the HR department or a training officer discusses and interviews the supervisors to evaluate and rate their respective subordinates. It is very time consuming. However, this helps to reduce superiors' personal bias. At this stage, it would not be out of context to mention some of the limitations associated with trait-based methods of performance evaluation. First, the trait-based methods are based upon traits like integrity and consciousness, which may not be directly related to successful job performance. An employee can change behavior but not personality. An employee who is dishonest may stop stealing but is likely to involve the moment he feels the threat of being caught is gone. Second, trait-based methods are easily influenced by office politics and is thus less reliable. Moving on, there is paired comparison. This method involves comparing employees against each other, meaning one-on-one. This method traditionally selects a particular trait on which to focus. The process is quite simple. The designated traitor selects slips with two names on them, then proceeds to mark the one they believe is the better one. The number of times the employee's name gets marked for specific traits decide how high up on the list they will be. Advantage: if only a few employees need to be rated, the paired comparison method is a good option. This is to the fact that it compares two employees at a time rather than all employees. Disadvantage: other than being extremely effort intensive, this method may not be feasible at all in a large organization. With a large number of employees, it can be really time consuming. Then, computer based performance monitoring. So for computer performance monitoring for performance appraisal, it is a system that uses technology and software to track and evaluate an employee's performance in a more automated and data-driven way. Computerized systems can collect and analyze large amounts of data related to an employee's performance. This data can include quantitative metrics such as scale numbers, project completion times, error rates, etc. Using this data, supervisors and managers can make more objective and informed decisions during the performance appraisal process. With computerized performance monitoring, feedback can be provided to employees in real time. This immediate feedback helps employees understand their strengths and weaknesses and make necessary improvements quickly. It also allows manager to address performance issues promptly and provide recognition for outstanding achievements. The system can align individual employee goals with the organization's objectives, ensuring that every employee's efforts are contributing to the overall success of the company. Progress towards these goals can be tracked continuously, enabling ongoing performance decisions. Automated performance monitoring systems can help minimize bias in the appraisal process. By relying on objective data and predefined performance criteria, the chances of favoritism or discrimination are reduced, promoting fairness and equity in evaluations. Digital systems can store performance data securely and efficiently. This documentation is valuable for both legal compliance and future reference, such as identifying trends in employee performance over time. Organizations can configure computerized performance monitoring systems to align with their specific performance evaluation criteria and company culture. This allows for a more tailored approach to appraisal, better reflecting the organization's unique requirements. Analyzing performance data can help identify skill gaps and training needs in employees. Managers can then design targeted development plans to enhance employee skills and foster career growth. However, it is important to note that computerized performance monitoring systems are not without challenges. Some potential drawbacks include privacy concerns, data security issues, risk of over-reliance on metrics without considering qualitative aspects of performance, and the need for clear communication and training to ensure employees understand how the system works and how their performance is being evaluated. Then the last method for today is output measures. So these are essential in performance appraisal to assess an employee's productivity, effectiveness, and contribution to the organization. These measures focus on the tangible results and achievements that an employee has accomplished during a specific period. Output measures provide objective data that can be used to evaluate performance fairly and accurately. For sales and business development roles, output measures can include total sales revenue, sales growth percentage, new customer acquisition, etc. In manufacturing or production roles, output measures can include number of units produced, defect rate, production cycle time, etc. For customer facing roles, output measures can be based on customer feedback, ratings, surveys, etc. In finance or operation roles, output measures can include cost saving initiatives implemented cost reduction percentage, etc. For roles that directly impact organizations' financial performance, output measures can include revenue generated or profit contribution. In customer retention focused roles, output measures can be the percentage of retained customers or reduction in customer churn rate. In quality focused roles, output measures can be based on defect rates, error reductions, or adherence to quality standards. So that is it for today's video. We understood 9 methods of performance appraisal, which are traditional. First, we studied about ranking, then rating, then critical incident method, then checklist, essay appraisal method, field review method, paired comparison, computer-based performance monitoring, and output measures. So I hope these methods are clear to you now. Now you know what performance appraisal is, what is the need for it, and some of the few traditional performance appraisal methods. So yeah, that is it for today's video. If you have any doubt, please do ask in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.